foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's Pod, the show for the week of July 7th, 2025. And Phil, if you didn't know, I was in Disney World last week. So
I had heard the rumor. Yeah,
the rumor, yes.
That was the word on the streets.
The word on the street. So I was at Disney World. Our friend Matt was in Disneyland. He was giving updates as well. And let's see, we had Ryan W., our friend from Discord, my trusty author in, I don't even know, in something. He was the guy that helped me write the Touring's Plan report. I saw him at Disney World. I think there was one other person down there this weekend. Why can't I remember who it was? I'm scrolling. Vito was down there as well. There's a lot of people down in the world this week. But we're going to do some construction updates because there's one big one. And then there's a couple of small ones. We're going to have my trip report. And if we have time, we're going to do what park are we doing this week, Phil? We're going to do the
I did Animal Kingdom because I thought that would be a shorter one in case the trip report went long. So we're doing Animal Kingdom.
Like they're basically all like either all planners or they're all like filler, right? I don't think there's any real skippers anymore now that are.
I was going to say, well, I guess it depends how you view the trails and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. If they're on the list, then there might be something different there. Okay, so let's go right to it. Major construction updates. We're just going to go right there. This week in Magic Kingdom, Rivers of America closed on Sunday. It was one of the reasons why I went down last week with my daughter when we didn't even ride the riverboat. And that we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, it's closing. So like today we're seeing like construction crews like on the island. I guess they're getting ready to start thinking about what they need to do and planning and stuff like that to like remove artifacts and kind of start taking down things. Walls are almost going up. There's like a magical door to like nothing, right?
Yeah, they put these doorways into places, but they don't really like fit the space. So it just looks like somebody put up a door frame that would be really easy to go around. But there's other walls up around the Frontier train station and stuff like that. But that one magical door, which you either want to knock on it and see if the other person on the other side wants to build a snowman, or perhaps Sully is in other side looking for Boo, or I don't know, but it does look a little funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is to be expected. We knew that it was closed. We talked about that last week. We've known that for months. One of the things and maybe I'll go over this a little bit more in detail for my trip report, but when we were down there were rafts going back and forth all day long. Like they were full, every single time. Never seen it that busy. Riverboat was sometimes busy, sometimes empty. And everybody said their goodbyes. Now, Phil, I want to talk about, because we've had our opinions on opening and closing and all that other stuff already. We don't need to rehash that. But one of the things I want to talk about is that the reaction online is really starting to irritate me, because there's just like, I understand and I have total respect for people with like brief eulogies of like, yeah, we're going to miss it. Really love part of it. There's people that are like, oh, it's going down. I'm sad to see it go. But then there's people that are like, it feels like their identity for like the last week and the next couple of days is all about like the misery of their lives that Tom Sawyer's Island and the Riverboat are closing, right? It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel emotions. These are all things that I'm not commenting on those. I'm commenting on that, like the over the top expression, like Disney doesn't know what they're doing. They're destroying Magic Kingdom. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to the park. Like all the over the top spots for attractions that never got the attention to this level. It's like this is the reaction I would expect from normal people if they decided to tear down Cinderella's castle, right? Like now, but they're taking out an island and a riverboat. And again, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to have the nostalgia of childhood memories and feeling sad that it's going. That is not my comment. Again, I'm reiterating, not to make because there's plenty of people on Discord that have like, this is a quiet place we went to when our child who needed quiet places. This is the place we go, and we don't have that anymore. I totally respect that, and it's sad to see that kind of thing go. I'm talking about the over the top reaction, which is just, to me, is getting slightly ridiculous. Maybe I need to stop going to the places I'm going
Yeah.
for a while and take a break. So.
I definitely get that sometimes you do need to step aside. And I feel that way too. I've also put a few more posters on Ignore. But yeah, there's definitely some people that feel that the river was so critical to the infrastructure and just the design of any castle park that you can't remove it. Like there's definitely been comments like, well, if they're removing this, they might as well remove like Cinderella's castle. That's probably next or something like that. And
Which is ridiculous.
which I don't necessarily get. Like I do think it added a lot to the ambiance and the scenery and all that sort of stuff. And I do think some people, even people that have never, ridden the paddle ship or anything like that, they probably don't recognize how much it did influence their trips just being there, the scenic view vistas of it. But that doesn't mean there aren't other spots that can do that. It doesn't mean what's replacing it can't do that. I know Tom Bricka wrote a big article about how we need things like the parks need things like Rivers of America. And I agree, it needs things like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it needs specifically the Rivers of America.
Yeah, it can't be like Hershey Park where it's all asphalt and concrete wherever you go, right? Because then it becomes an amusement park and not a theme park. Right. And I agree with that too, but that doesn't mean like Disney's making an effort. And I think if you just look at all their projects that they're either just finishing, Jack from DSNY put out a video, was it 2 days ago, about the construction going around all over the world.
Yep.
And there's beautiful, like I've never seen some of these shots of like for Disneyland Paris about like the frozen
area. Yeah.
We went over like the what is it, the new Tokyo edition
Fantasy Springs.
Excuse me, I always want to say like Disney Springs, but that's definitely not it. Fantasy Springs, you're seeing updates everywhere that it's just like in Hong Kong and Disneyland and stuff like that, where like it's just gorgeous, right? The parks need beauty and the attention to that, and I think they're going to do that. I mean, like whether or not it fits in Frontierland, that's another conversation had. But whatever they put in there is going to be beautiful. I mean, like
I agree.
Disney's always been able to do,
and I do think there's some of the sentiment comes through, and these are some of the people that I need to step back away from, though, is that I think the people that just insist everything Disney does is wrong and they have zero confidence in the Imagineers of doing anything even halfway decent. I've seen like a lot of comments like, well, of course this is going to be bad. Just look at the disaster that's over there, meaning Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and how that, they're still not over Splash closing and stuff like that.
Oh gosh, yes.
And so I think it's just all that manifests itself through this, and they're just not willing to give it a chance.
Another point from my trip report, my daughter went on Tiana's for the first time, and she immediately thought it was better than anything that Splash was. This is a 12-year-old, right? That's been on Splash like 4 or 5 times in her lifetime. Like she's been going on Splash since she was tall enough. So somebody that's been on it plenty of times. We were on it right before it closed too. The one thing that irritates me is when you have to put out a post, and I think I mentioned this in Discord. I think I might have been a bit too harsh about it towards you, but that was not the way I'm saying. It's like you said, I really like the riverboat and Tom Sawyer's Island. I don't think they should have been removed. I think there was other ways, but I'm looking forward to the new stuff. Like, I'm irritated for you that you have to post that every single time just so you don't get like dogpiled for whatever reason. Like, you shouldn't have to. Like, who cares? They're like, it's gone. It's going away. Like, everybody, let's get away from it.
And I think I've totally moved on to like, I don't know if it's just like the stages of grief or whatever. I'm on acceptance, right? Like it's happened. Like it's closed. Like there were some people that even through yesterday were like, I think they're going to change their minds. It's like, no, it's happening.
Yeah.
Like it's closed. Like we can either be angry about it and like never go back to the parks, or be optimistic about what could come, because maybe it will be good. Like who knows?
I mean, you could be so upset that you never go back to the parks, and that's fine. Like you can have that opinion.
Yeah.
Just stop wasting your time online whining about it for like weeks on end. Like, okay, you don't like Disney, what they're doing. You don't like what they're doing to the parks. Stop giving them their money. Stop giving them mind space in your brain. Stop spending 4 hours a day posting on message boards. Like, move on with your life.
Yeah.
Like, plenty of people move on from hobbies and fandoms and things like that.
Or at the very least, take a break, right?
Oh, yes. I don't want to hear your opinion anymore. Like, if you want to be sad that it's going, and share your memories and tell stories of it. I love listening to those
Yeah.
things or reading those things. That's fantastic. I want to read about like your stories about you going there with your dad when you were a kid, or when some mom tells a story when they bring their children where they played checkers for like 4 hours on there one day or they had a picnic out there or whatever it was, right? Like
Right.
those are wonderful stories. But things change. We have to accept that. And I mean, it gives Disney adults a bad name is this type of behavior, and I think it's just I don't like where you have to preface your excitement for what's coming with like I really like the Rivers of America, but I'm really excited about what like you shouldn't have to clarify your statement.
And it's
constantly.
Okay. That's what I feel like the debate, discussion, argument, whatever it boils down to. It's like you either have to be like you're a pixie duster and super excited about for this to come, or you're morally outraged by it and are a better theme park fan because you know what's best for Disney. Like it can't be both, right? Like both things can be true. That there are absolutely things we're losing in the park that will not get back, and I have fond memories of it, and those memories don't go away. But I also like change and I like new things, and let's see what I'm excited for what, or at least the possibility of what's going to come. So I think it's okay to like both things, and it seems like you can't do that a lot online. You have to be in one camp or the other.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like there's no nuance to the conversation, and we've had this conversation before, and I think it might have been Lumpy that suggested this, or no, maybe it wasn't. Suggested like, is there anything sacred in the parks? We've had these conversations over the years.
We had like what do we think is like sacred? I think it was worded more, and I'm trying to pull up the post now for who did it. Was more of like, what do you think what the company, and it was Lumpy. Actually, I just looked at it. So it's kind of like, what do you think they would never remove and that sort of thing? Versus, I think in the past it was more for like what is personally is kind of sacred. I think that's but it's similar though. But it's like definitely like, well, what would be off limits to the company if they would change this, that type of thing.
Yeah, and again, I think most people are measured by this, and I think nobody in my family like really cares that it's going away to the point where they're devastated, but they're like, oh, it's going away. We never got a chance. Like, when was the last time we got to go on it? And but they're also excited to see what's going on. And they also don't allow a theme park to like run their emotions drastically either. So again, okay to be sad, okay to be disappointed that it's going, but like, let's leave it there. Like you don't have to, it doesn't have to rule your life at this point, right? There's more important things going on in the world than like, a boat going away from your favorite theme park that, you loved as a child. Right. So, now before I insult anybody else by saying something insensitive, a couple of the things in the construction update that I want to go through, unless you have anything you want to touch up on Rivers of America.
No, just the only thing I was going to mention was I think they handled it well again. The cast members, they wound up doing the wristbands again for like the final ride on the Liberty Bell, and overall I thought it was handled well. It was a nice day. There were a lot of people. They had cast members were riding on the train at the end to kind of wave goodbye to the Liberty Bell as it was passing by. So like they handled it well, which I think we noted they did for Muppets, and so it's nice to see them handle that again.
And the riverboat's going today too. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah,
it's already gone.
And the map's updated in my Disney experience. And
I saw that when I woke up today, or like you already tweeted that out at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
And like new park maps and stuff like that. The only other thing, which I wasn't sure if you're going to mention it for Magic Kingdom construction updates, was as people were going around on the last ride on the Liberty Bell, they were testing the new special effects inside Big Thunder Mountain. So they were actually able to see some of that. So
I did not, I saw that mentioned, but I didn't have like an article or something that could specifically link to it other than just like they saw something. I didn't know what it was.
I saw somebody tweeted out video of it, and you could see the different colored lights go in and stuff.
Oh, was
like
it?
that.
I missed that part.
So,
and I mean, if we want to talk rumors, then there was also the, Len Tessa had posted something in the Encanto about the Encanto.
Oh yeah, he seemed to have a lot of details of it. He's like,
it's like there's 12 show scenes, and the final one is in Antonio's room, and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, you're just dropping everything.
And he's like, yeah, you see Bruno in between the walls in the queue or something like that. Like, I was like, all of a sudden, it was like he knew the entire thing and was just dropping little things. It was interesting.
That was absolutely crazy. So I thought that was kind of funny. Across property, Hollywood Studios, there's a permit filed for construction in the Muppets Vision 3D building. We don't know what the permits are for. There's just a permit to do stuff. It could be as little as changing the electrical. It could be big as like, tearing down insides, right? We don't know yet. Space Earth, we mentioned this, I think, last week, but their permit filed for the refurb. We knew it was going down, but now there's a permit for it. You linked this right before the show, the Donald meet and greet in near the Mexico area. There's some construction walls that are down. I never knew that this was up and missing.
It was the meet was not happening for a while. They were like refurbing his little like backdrop meet and greet area there, but that's down. So I guess it's he can be meeting again.
And I think that's all the construction updates for today. But like, I think a cool space to follow is, I think by the time next week, when we do the construction updates, there's going to be a lot more walls across the rivers of America. They're not just going to let a door sit there by itself, but I think they were securing a door and then they can easily attach walls to it. So there's already some kind of running right along like the rope. So like if you know, like, you know, the main thoroughfare from like Liberty Square towards Tiana's, then there's like a lower version of like a catwalk or like a dock or a boardwalk.
It's like a boardwalk area. Yep.
That's going to remain open, but the walls are basically sandwiched up right against that. So views of construction are probably only going to be had from like the Treehouse, potentially Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and
Big
I think
Thunder
that's it.
Big Thunder once it's
when
open.
it's open, yeah. But you might not even get it because I think going towards the water, the train is kind of banked away from it, so you might get glimpses, but like you're not going to be able to see much. But we do have Bio Reconstruct that's going to give us all the updates, of course, from overhead. All right, so moving on, I want to get to my trip report, Phil.
All right.
So I have no idea how long this is going to be. We do pretty well for our trip reports. We kind of tell them a different way. But to preface this, we went down for a single day. We basically followed the same schedule as we did at our last down and back. We flew down at an airport 3 hours away from us in the morning at Newark Airport. We landed at MCO at like 8:50. We took an Uber. It took exactly an hour to get to the parks. We got there around 9:45. We stayed at All Star Sports, and then we flew back in the morning. Right, so it was the same schedule as what we did, and we went down because we just got a bundle of like free stuff, and it was a very minimal expense to get down for a single day. And it butted up right against the 4th of July weekend, so I got an extended holiday weekend. So that always helps out. So I don't know how to go through this. There's a couple different themes, right, that I want to tell in this is the crowds at the parks. I want to talk about how to really take value from Lightning Lane Multipass and what you can get done out of it. And 3, I want to talk about kind of like almost kind of like a magical vacation with my daughter where we got like one-on-one time, which we don't because I have 3 kids. It's very hard to have one-on-one time with any of your children, or meaningful one-on-one time. That's not like, you know, driving them to like soccer practice or football practice type of thing. Right. So the first thing, talking about crowds. So how would you typically view or judge crowd levels at a park without looking at like wait times or thrill data or Lightning Lane availability? Like visually, how do you personally judge crowds when you're going through the parks? Let's say Magic Kingdom. I mean, it's just how busy the walkways are, how easy it is to get from one area to another area, and then just like areas that have lines outside, like say the People Mover. Like if there's nobody online for that, or does it have like lines sticking out and running out and stuff like that? So I'd say those are the 2 main things. So one of the ways I do it, and I kind of do that as well, because there was hardly any line for People Mover. It looks like people were just walking up there.
Yep.
The walkways, when we were at Magic Kingdom in the morning, I usually I have this vision in my mind when we went down in 21 of like walking through Frontierland and it'd be like literally nobody in that portion. And that was relatively empty when we were there at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. But the big one is, what is the crowds and the hub and Main Street during Happily Ever After?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. That's the big one, right? Like everybody should, like crowds could be weirdly dispersed through the park, or people don't wake up as late or whatever. But the one thing, if it's a busy day, everybody's watching Happily Ever After at night.
Right.
So I will liken the crowds that day to the same level of crowds of a Christmas party a couple days before Christmas. Right. Okay. We went down the Thursday before Christmas in 23. And when we watched the Minnie's fireworks show, there was portions of like mid to the end of Main Street towards the railroad station where you could spin around in a circle with your hands stretched out and not hit anybody. Right. So there were pockets of people kind of right before Starbucks, where nobody was standing. We were able to sit down, get up, and like walk around. We were able to move around, get different angles of what's going on, and it was not crowded whatsoever. It was great, right? So like that's an idea. I always forget like what the crowd levels are for a Christmas party, but Christmas parties are notorious, or at least in the last couple of years, for being able to walk on most of the rides. It's not super packed. It was like that all day. So I was surprised at the crowd levels, and that was reflected in what we were able to get done.
Okay.
So my second point in my trip report is I want to go over how much we got done on this day. So I asked my daughter, what do you want to do? Well, she wanted to see Tom Sawyer's Island.
Right.
But I said, do you want to do 4 parks in one day? And she said, yes, let's do that. Because she's a commando, she wants rides. That's all she wants to do. Right. I was like, well, I got to thinking, it's like going to Animal Kingdom is probably going to be a waste of time because it's at least call it an hour worth of our day gone by waiting for a bus, 25-minute bus ride, 25 minutes bus ride back. And that's taking an hour out of our day. So let's not do that. She agreed. So our goal was to do Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and then back to Magic Kingdom in the evening to watch fireworks. That was our plan. So we got to Magic Kingdom. And I think I mentioned this last week. I was able to get multi passes for 9:25 to 10:25 for Space Mountain, then Haunted Mansion, then Pirates, all in like a 3-hour block, like evenly stacked. So we got there. Right around 10 o'clock, we got off the monorail about 9:50, and then we headed right over to Space Mountain. We were on and off Space Mountain in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Our friend Zach was at Tron, so we wanted to go say hello to him, and we missed him in the front. So this is the only standby line that we did of any substance for the day, and we were on and off Tron in about 50 minutes or so, 53 minutes. That includes standby time and riding the ride and getting out, right? So the moment we got online to the moment we got off past the Tron sign, kind of leaving the area.
Gotcha.
Well,
I hope
however,
we have similar when I go down with my daughter, because those are the two like must-dos for her, are Space Mountain and Tron.
So on our way off of Tron, I wanted to see if our friend was working, and he was working the front, and he sprinkled some pixie dust, and we were able to get a walk right into the Lightning Lane for that. So we did Tron back to back. So we got to go on Tron twice. That's what my daughter really wanted to do, similar to yours.
Yeah.
And we were on and off in 7 minutes. And then all of a sudden we had to be like, okay, we need food, because I think we ate at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Because again, we left our house at 1 a.m. My daughter and I think she kind of slept on the way up, which was about a 3-hour drive. And then we got there at 4, flight was at 6, we landed at 9. So by the time we got off of Space Mountain, I personally was already up for 9 hours at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So I got to doze on the plane, but I don't know if you want to count that at all. So we went to Joffrey's, got some snacks, lemonade. I got a coffee. And I don't think we got a snack. We got a bite to eat. Then we went on to
I know they have donuts there. I don't know if you got something like that.
No, we were looking at that. I forget what it was. But yeah, we didn't want to shock our systems with like heavy sugar at that point. But we went on to Haunted Mansion and then Pirates. And by the time we got off of Haunted Mansion and Pirates, it's already 12:40, right? So we were at the park for we'll call it about almost 3 hours at this point, 2.5 hours. And we've done Space Mountain, Tron twice, Haunted Mansion, and Pirates. Nice. And then I'm booking lightning lanes as we're kind of doing these things. So everything that I list now is basically a lightning lane. Once we get off Pirates, we go on to Tom Sawyer Island for a half hour. My daughter loved exploring it. She liked it, but like she was kind of like one and done with it. Mm-hmm. Even though when you go on the the escape tunnels from the fort, I banged my head twice. I think literally in the same places. Even though I was waiting for it to happen, it still happened. Yeah. And so I said, good riddance to that concussion tunnel. And then a fun part is we were kind of working our way through the island towards the Haunted Mansion side off of the southern part of the island. And as we made the turn, I heard, hey, what are you doing here? And our friend Drew, the Disney dude, was taking pictures of all sorts of different things from the angle from Tom Sawyer's Island. So we ran into Drew.
Nice.
And so my daughter was like, it's like, hey, Dad, do you think we'll meet any famous vloggers walking around and everything else? And then as soon as we met him, say, This is a famous blogger. Look, it's Drew the Disney dude. He does famous posts and everything on Twitter. And he's like, oh, I'm not famous. And I'm like, he's humble too. Look at this, a wonderful young man that's famous for Disney updates. So we explored everything. We went to all the tunnels. She thought they were really cool. Like she wasn't expecting something like that at Magic Kingdom. We took some great pictures of the riverboat. A lot of people around there taking pictures, saying their goodbyes. So there was all sorts of different things going on. We saw cast members kind of posing in front of Fort Langhorne and taking pictures, getting their last moment stuff. It was very nice. I did walk past a guy that said, like, was talking on the phone. He was having some like business conversations with somebody, like for like work, right? Not like friends or family. He says, yeah, I'm going through a Disney challenge where I'm going to spend 12 hours on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Oh, wow.
That was my challenge.
Huh.
I'm like, okay. Parks closed at like 10 o'clock that night. So easily you could do from like 9 to 9 or 9 to 10 for 13 hours, whatever it was. So that's great. So we left Tom Sawyer Island. We went on Jungle Cruise, and then we left Magic Kingdom by about 1:45. All right. So we did, again, Space Mountain, Tron, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, Jungle Cruise, Tom Sawyer's Island, all before we left, right? So we got on a bus to Hollywood Studios. We got on a perfect time because it started downpouring. Once we got to Hollywood Studios, it let up. And then we walked in, and then it started downpouring again. So, we had maybe about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of like just downtime, just rain in the front part of the park where you kind of tap in for the park. That being said, we have lightning lanes. We had lightning lanes for Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, and that was perfect because all we were going to do is walk down Sunset Boulevard, go on those two rides, and then leave and go to Epcot. However, Rock and Roller Coaster went down, so we got a free anytime lightning lane.
Okay.
I then used that to get Millennium Falcon, so we went on Tower of Terror. We walked all the way back to Millennium Falcon, which I didn't want to do. We got blue milk. It's absolutely disgusting. Even my daughter didn't like it. She'll eat anything. And that was our first time having it. And then, and then we also had a Mickey's Runaway Railway that went down. So then we had two, and then I rebooked for Rock and Roller Coaster because it came up for a brief second, but then it went down again. So I had 3 anytime lightning lanes for the park, everything but like Slinky Dog. And I'm like, well, we could go Millennium Falcon 3 times in a row if we really wanted to, but we didn't. We were both engineers for another family of 4 that we got put on, and I'm like, this is kind of awkward. And if we go on again, it'll just be awkward again.
It'll be the same thing as a party of 2 for sure.
So we're gonna skip it because we'll come down as a family of 6 when we go down in 2 weeks, right? So we both agreed to that. So we left, and we're getting very, very hungry. I think the only thing really solid food that we ate were the cheeseburger egg rolls from Magic Kingdom at this point. Which are, I keep forgetting, they're so expensive. They're $10 for 2 of those things.
I know, and they're not like huge.
No, and we got 2 of them, right? So we're 2 orders of 2, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to leave Hollywood Studios. We're heading out, and we run into our friend Ryan W. and his family outside the bathrooms in Toy Story Land. The funniest part is, we were going back and forth on Discord. It's like, hey, where are you going to be? He's like, oh, I'm going on Toy Story Mania, but we were already going on Falcon. And as we were crisscrossing, I figured he's off with his family. I wasn't going to bother him because he's a Disney planner. I don't want to like impede him and all his kids doing what they're doing. And then as we were walking through Toy Story Land, I see a guy kind of like lean out and say, Jason? And I go, you must be Ryan. He says, yeah, I recognized you. And because from, he's like, well, as a family, we watch the videos like every week in the living room. And he introduced me to his wife, and we chatted. He's like, this is Jason. He's from, the videos we watch, and we wrote that article together. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? And he says, well, we're heading out to Epcot. I don't want to bother you and your family. We'll catch you later. It was very nice meeting you. So we did like a drive-by high five type of thing. So that was very fun. So we got to meet three friends that day. We got to see Zach. We got to see Ryan. We got to see Drew. I thought that was really awesome, and just kind of worked out perfectly.
Plus, I'm sure you impressed your daughter that people are recognizing you in the park. And stuff.
I didn't think about it at that time, but then later on, I was talking to my wife. Says, you know what? I got recognized. It's the first and only time I got recognized from that. That'll never happen again. So yeah, while we were there, we did Tower of Terror and Millennium Falcon. Everything was down at that point, but we had lightning lanes for Rock and Roller Coaster and Mickey and Minnie's and Falcon. If we got to use them, we could have blitzed that whole park, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't. So we left and we went to Epcot. We went into Epcot, and I managed to get a Remy's Lightning Lane.
Lane.
That was and it was full all day long. But we went to Shikisai first, and we grabbed some. We just ordered like 4 sushi rolls and kind of like shared and stuff like that. Gorgeous views. If you like anything adjacent to sushi, I recommend going to this restaurant. It is absolutely phenomenal inside. Wasn't busy at all. We just walked up and went in. I mean, I checked reservations. They were wide open. So I didn't bother making a reservation because I didn't know what time we were going to be there exactly. So we walked in. They have a table. Yep. And they're very nice to sit us right next to the window. We didn't even have to ask. And everybody there was super nice. And we're ordering sushi. And they asked, any allergies? So my daughter is allergic to eggs. And then but we ordered sushi without eggs. But then the manager came over and asked us all about like, well, we have eggs in the tempura batter and we have this. And it's like anything that's cooked with eggs is generally fine. It just can't be like pure like scrambled eggs or something else like that. But they were very nice. Everybody took care of us really nice. The service was excellent. So we left with amazing reviews. So I would highly recommend it. Even if you don't like sushi, you should go there and try sushi a second time just in case you don't like it.
And they have other stuff on the menu too.
They do.
So it's not just sushi.
But I'm saying even if you hate sushi, you should go for sushi because it's such a nice restaurant, right? So I want to give them my total thumbs up. So we went to Remy's. My daughter really had a hankering for a baguette from the hall. So we went and got a baguette and she housed like half of it. I'm like, this girl, you must be really, really hungry if you're eating like sushi and then like almost 3/4 of a baguette. But we sat in World Celebration and I totally don't realize how much my daughter hasn't seen. Like, she hasn't seen the Communicore Hall and she's like, what is that? I'm like, that's the Encanto show. I'm like, oh, you haven't seen this yet because it opened up last year. So she's like kind of pointing all the things that she hasn't seen. So we have a baguette and we get onto the monorail at Magic Kingdom and at about 6:00 and we get into Magic Kingdom about maybe like 6:40 at this point. So only one ride in Epcot. We were going to we had a Tiana's Bayou Adventure just waiting for us. We were about an hour late for the Tiana's Bayou Adventure, so they still let us in. But if we didn't have that kind of pulling us towards Magic Kingdom, we would have done Spaceship Earth and Soarin', which both had 5-minute waits or full availability for Lightning Lanes, right? But we could have done that, but we had other things. Now, I did pull a Phil on this trip.
Uh-oh.
So I had a perfect lineup for a Tiana's Bayou Adventure right before we left Magic Kingdom earlier that day, but I forgot to hit the final button to continue to save it.
To go to the next screen, yeah.
So I did exactly what you did on our back. I'm like, oh, man, I got to tell Phil it's totally not his fault, and it's something that anybody can do. So, yes, I didn't scroll the way down and hit continue.
Well, you get so excited when you have it. You're like, all right, I got it. And then you
exactly.
Like, forget to do the next thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. But I managed to get it, but for right later that day. So we got on at about 6:45. That was probably the longest Lightning Lane to wait for because the ride's all so long, but that was about 20 minutes on and off that. Actually, 30 minutes on and off that attraction. We got some beignets, and you saw my notes, and I do not know how to spell beignets at all. In my spell check, didn't know either. And I just started typing letters at the end, and that was about it.
Hey, well, I knew what you were talking about, so
yes,
close enough.
Yes, close enough for sure. We got on Peter Pan. We got on Buzz Lightyear. And then after Buzz Lightyear, Space Adventure Spin, we went on Carousel of Progress because I haven't been on in a while. And at that point, it was already 8:30. And I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm up, 20 hours at this point, I think. And my daughter's like, we got to keep going. We can get on. I had a Barnstormer, Lightning Lane. Everything else was like 5. The Teacups was 5 minutes. Yeah. Mermaid was 5 minutes.
I remember I did that one of our trip where it was like, well, I can get the Lightning Lane. So like, do I get it just to get it? It's exactly. Like a walk on anyway. So it's like,
so remember when we were down, I was trying to find like patches to put on my bag and stuff like that. You don't sell patches anywhere. Like that's not even a thing for Disney. Like if I want patches, I have to buy them from like Etsy that some people make or whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So I got to figure out a different way to kind of, color my bag from each one of our trips. So I've already missed once. Maybe that's just we're just not doing that. Anyway, we got up to Main Street. My daughter's still hungry. And I'm like, I don't want to get into Casey's to get food. Let's just sit because we went through the Emporium. So we kind of sit down on Main Street around 8:30, 8:45. And we waited like 20 minutes for Happily Ever After to start. And we watched the fireworks. It was absolutely fantastic. And if we really wanted to, we could have gone and done like 3 more rides, like super quick. But we've already done like everything. Like the only things that we didn't do was Small World, meet and greets, carousel, Barnstormer, Country Bear Jamboree, People Mover. I think that's it. Oh, Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Also,
yeah.
that was the only other lightning that was hard to get was Winnie the Pooh.
Huh.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I guess people with small kids want it.
But we got everything else done, and that
Yeah.
was we were there at 10. We weren't even there at rope drop, and we didn't do. I could have had a Mine Train Lightning Lane for $11 each, and I'm like, I'm not spending another $20. We'll be here in like 2 weeks. We'll go.
Yeah,
run it then.
really.
But we could have done that as well. Like it was a perfect time for it. I could have bought it. It was unavailable for a while, then it became available. So we could have done easily if we weren't exhausted and had stuff to eat throughout the day, we could have done 2 more rides at Epcot. If they weren't down, we could have done 3 other marquee attractions at we could have done all the good attractions at Hollywood Studios with the exception of Rise and Slinky Dog. And that's at a like maybe Touring Planes had the parks Magic Kingdom at a 4, Hollywood Studios at a 7, Epcot at a 6, I think at that date.
Yeah.
And this is a long trip report for one day, but like what I'm trying to get at is people complain about paying money for lightning lanes and how dare Disney and all this other type of stuff. But when you're down there for a single day like this, 30, even if it was Magic Kingdom was $30, like we could have stopped at Animal Kingdom, gotten one ride and saved $40 because I think they're like $15 at Animal Kingdom. For $60 to get all of this done, we were not online for anything longer than 5 to 10 minutes, with the exception of the Tron standby that we did the first time. And if I didn't have to pay for lightning lanes, we could have gone on a good amount of attractions, but I wouldn't have been able to do 3 parks in one day like this and have like this down and back. So I want to defend lightning lane. Yes, it sucks that you have to pay for it, but that's the reality we live in. I'm not going to harp for better days. But even with Fast Pass Plus back in the day, I don't think I could have done this back then. Or it would have been very difficult to do.
It would have been a lot harder
back
with
then.
Fast Pass Plus when everybody had that.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was fantastic. And then the last part is, I know it's tough to get to Disney World for a lot of people. I know it's very expensive. I was very fortunate to have a confluence of things happen where I could get down very inexpensively. And I was going to sneeze, excuse me. Getting down there with my daughter for a single day without the pressure of the rest of the family, the hustle, the bustle, and everything else like that. You're doing it with your daughter in a month, or is it a month, or is it like
Just
3 weeks
exactly
now?
a month. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And you've done it. You've inspired me to do it because you've done it with your son
Did it with
before.
my son, and my wife did it with my older daughter and stuff like that.
And I'm like, you know what? A normal family Disney vacation is always a magical thing, right? But to be able to do it with one other, whether it's just your wife or a child, there's a certain different kind of magic about that because you're not trying to like make 5 other people happy or 4 other people happy. It's just like you kind of just go and you be and you just do what you got to do. And 2 people are better aligned than 5. Right. Yeah. And I think it was rather special. And I really enjoyed it. If you could get down there, even if you're considering maybe like a 5-day Disney World vacation at some point and you don't mind spending some extra money, maybe you break up that vacation into like single days or days with, just your wife or one of your kids or something else like that. I think that could be a very special thing.
Or even just for chunks of the day. Like if you say your family's going down, just say like, okay, for this afternoon, I'm taking my daughter and we're going to do the afternoon together while my wife takes the other 2. And then we like trade off or something like that. But like separate even for like a few hours to get some one-on-one time and say, all right, this afternoon we're doing whatever you want to do or, whatever it is, just to kind of get that one-on-one. Because I get it with the family and 5 days, go. Even if you're trying to have the vacation, there's still like everyone gets tired, cranky, there's arguments and stuff like that. And you need those, the one-on-one time could really be nice.
Now, also, I want to point out, this is my 4th factor that I didn't bring up. Having been down there 2 months ago or a month and a half ago with you, down with my daughter 6 days ago, and then now a week from this coming Sunday, so 2 weeks from yesterday, we're recording this on Monday, I'll be down for a really significantly long trip.
Yep.
It feels different going down there and having a sprint and seeing 3 of the parks already. And like, not just kind of like doing a little down and back. Like, we went down for Muppets and then we kind of had some beers and did whatever was available type of thing. but like we did like a
You got a lot
ride
done.
blitz,
Yeah.
right? There's some pressure, at least all for me personally. I don't think my rest of my family is going to do it.
I was going to say, I wonder how it feels for the rest of the family. It's like going to be like, well, I know you just did this, but we didn't get to do it. You know,
my wife's a big proponent of vacation to the vacation.
Yeah.
Right? She slows me down all the time, which is
so
a
maybe
good
it'll work
thing,
out
right?
well. That you're like, all right, I can take it easy.
Well, I mean,
considering you
yeah, I
did
can. I already can do that. But my daughter got a taste for everything, and it's just my mother will do whatever. She doesn't go on half the rides anyway. She's in like roller coasters and stuff like that. But I think for me personally, this will help me relax, which makes my wife extremely happy.
that.
My daughter got on all the rides she wanted to get on, so this makes her happy, not feeling the anxiety of like I missed Space Mountain the last time we were down there. I want to get back on there, and she got back. She was able to get on it. And my other two younger kids, you know, they love Disney, but they can, if they miss something, they're not going to be uber upset about it, type of thing. So I'm just curious how this is going to impact my sentiment being down there, because it's not going to, when we cross as a family into the park, it's not going to feel as special to me as it's like a long lost friend, or you're finally coming home. You know that feeling after you haven't been at Magic Kingdom for like a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever it is. It's like, oh, I'm back. I was here, 2 weeks ago, type of thing. So I'm curious how that's going to impact my trip, where I'm not going to have. Am I already going to be like? I don't want to say bored, because I'll never be bored at Disney.
Right.
But like, is it kind of like how sometimes locals feel when they go into the parks, type of thing? Is it becomes normal rather than like super special that you're there? So I'm curious to see how that impacts my excitement levels. So we'll see. Another thing I'm going to do. I'm reaching over here. If you're watching, I'm going to share this. So we talked about achievements, Phil. I haven't showed you this before. I figured, I don't know if this is going to be good on camera, but I have these achievement cards.
Oh, nice.
So I was going to hold up my phone for context, but my phone is the camera right now. So I mean, this is like 3 inches by about 6 or so, and I got a stack of 80 of these things. I just picked up a couple of them. I think I went too overboard, Phil.
Yeah, 80 sounds like a lot.
I mean.
And each thing's like, you have to do a couple things to like knock off one.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, look, here, I still have to, I ran out of laminate for my laminate thing. I still got like 12 more to go, but like, I don't know if you can see this through the camera. If you're listening, you got to go like us on YouTube. Like, this is what I have, Phil. Right? Now, some of these are redundant. It's like going all the like rides at Epcot. Now this is a trip prep story. Maybe this is something I should be doing next week. But like here, for example, I don't know if you can read this online, but this is every ride in Frontierland and Liberty Square, right? So there's 4 things: Tiana's, Country Bears, Hall of Presidents, and Haunted Mansion, right? But then there's another achievement to do every one of the lands. And then there's another achievement, ride every ride at Walt Disney World. So if you do all 4 of these, you automatically do that one, right? And then there's one like ride 10 rides in a single day and whatever. So there's a lot of redundancy in here, but it's like a video game. Like it kind of tracks your progress through the week and see how many you can get done. I don't know if this is going to be a pain in the rear trying to do all this, but we're going to try. I'm kind of excited to see if we can track our progress and how that kind of drives our day-to-day type of stuff. But
well, now since you went on all these rides already, well, the rest of the family's going on it. You can be tallying the scores. And
that's right. Yes, I can be an accountant for a whole trip. So anyway, that was our trip. I had a great time. It was exhausting. We got back to the resort. We grabbed some food, and we're getting ready for sleep. We did like a 17-minute like podcast with me and her, kind of going over our day. Oh, nice. And we're going to make a really cool family video from that. I gotta do that before we go down. So I don't have to do 2 videos when we get back. Right. We want to do that. But, and as much as she was like, I'm not tired, we can go. As soon as her head hit the pillow, out. It was great. It was fantastic. All right. So we'll put a bow on that one. We've got like 20 minutes here, Phil. I think we can get through our Animal Kingdom filler or skipper attraction. So did you want to drive this one like you did last week?
Yep. Yeah. So as a quick reminder, if you didn't listen to last week, well, after this episode, you could go back and listen to it.
And like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Hit that smash that like button. But basically what we're going through is looking at all the different attractions and deciding if there are things that you plan around doing. So these are kind of the marquee attractions that are must-dos, are they attractions you use as filler in between those? So they're not necessarily something that you're like, oh, we got to make sure we get on this, but we enjoy doing it. And if we see that it's good or short line, we're absolutely, excited to do it. Or is it a skipper ride where it's something that, you know what, even if it's got no weight, it's not something we're going to bother with, or maybe we do it once just to check the box or once every 5 trips or something, but it's not something that we're really looking to try to do. So if it goes away or we don't get on it, it's not a big deal. So we did this for Epcot last week, and we are doing it for Animal Kingdom this week. And we're starting in Discovery Island with there's 3 attractions there. First is the Discovery Island Trails. Is that something that you plan to do, you use as filler, or you skip most trips, Jason?
I mean, sometimes you just walk through them to get to another point. Yeah. So I never plan on going on these.
Sure not.
It's not something I choose to do. I mean, it's definitely skippable. I mean, it's gorgeous on the island. Sometimes there's characters to meet there, but like, it's a skipper. Like if I completely avoid Discovery Island, sometimes it's an accident. Whatever.
I view it the same way too, because sometimes we'll like, if we're like waiting for somebody else, we'll check out one of the animal displays there or something like that. But it's really not one, like you said, it's really just something you walk through to get to the other areas of the park. So.
Yeah.
The other attraction, I lumped them together. It's either It's Tough to Be a Bug or Zootopia Zoogether, which is replacing that. Was that, I guess, the bug version, or now Zootopia? Will that be something you plan around or something you use as a filler, or do you think you'll be skipping it?
Zootopia will be a planner just because it's new, right?
Yeah, I guess so, like after its newness is worn off, though, do you think it'll be something you still plan to do? Or
if it's good, sure, right? Like if it's on the same level, if it's Tough to Be a Bug, then at the very best, Tough to Be a Bug is a filler. But there's sometimes where I don't really think about it. Like it could be a skipper too, right? Like it really depends on what we're doing with the day. If we're at Animal Kingdom and for a second time in the vacation, I mean, we'll fill in and do that because we haven't seen it the first time we were there, right? Yep. But if we have like a single day at Animal Kingdom, you probably get to do everything, and then you're probably looking to go somewhere else because you're done with the park. So it's borderline filler or skipper when It's Tough to Be a Bug was going on.
Yeah, to us it was a filler. We wouldn't actively skip it if it was nothing, but I agree with what you're saying that if it's something like, well, we only have about a half day and then we're going to another park, then it's probably something that we're going to skip. Mm-hmm. But if we're doing a full day at Animal Kingdom, I should say more often than not, we would use it as a filler between things. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And the other thing they listed there is Wilderness Explorers. I don't know, is that something your kids did?
That's where like there's stations throughout the park.
Exactly. Yeah, right? But the like check-in one is on Discovery Island. That's where you. I think you could get the booklets at all of them, but that's where you really are supposed to like kind of sign up for it.
We've done this once, and we had an amazing experience. If doing it once, we kind of did it by accident because we saw other stations. They're like, where do we get that? My kid's really interested. And of course, it's Animal Kingdom, and we have plenty of time. So we got it. We had an amazing cast member that. I don't know if we just followed her around accidentally or whatever, but like every single station, she was there like throughout the whole park. I guess we just matched our pace through the park and her rotating through all the stations. And by the third time we had her, she remembered all of our names. I think I talked about this in my trip report. It was absolutely fantastic. And we would plan to do this again when we're down there. So like, at least for the second time, we had such a good experience with it. I think we're going to make an effort to do it again when we're there, because then we could bring our books back the second time we go in there and stuff like that. Believe it or not, it's not on any of our achievements though.
Oh, interesting.
So I think this is for the second time a planner, because we didn't do everything on that last time. Mm-hmm. But if we do this one more time, I think it's either a filler or a skipper afterwards though.
Yeah, I think it's a filler for us. But it's like a great filler because even if you don't have the booklet or whatever, you can still stop at the stands and do things and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it's like if we take all the stands collectively, they function as great filler type things. Next line is Pandora, Flight of Passage.
Obviously, I think that's a planner for everybody, right? It's the marquee attraction. And just because of its availability on Lightning Lanes, like even Navi River Journey is a planner because you have to plan to get on this thing.
It's funny. It's like it's either a planner or a skipper for us. Because it's like, it's going to have a long line, right? So if we're either planning around doing it and getting a Lightning Lane for it, we're probably not doing it.
Oh, right. Like if I can't get a lightning lane for this, it's a skip. Right.
Right.
Like this is lightning lane only type of an attraction. I've never waited in the standby queue for this attraction because it's a short boat ride. It's gorgeous,
Yeah.
great animatronic, but I'm not waiting for it.
And
Right.
and it often carries like a 40+ minute.
Yeah,
wait
it's
or whatever.
crazy. Like for example, Flight of Passage, like if I don't feel like paying money for this, I will figure out a way to like hop on like either rope drop or come later in the day just to get it right before it closes where the line's like only a half hour versus like an hour or whatever it is. But yeah, like Flight of Passage is definitely a planner, but Navi River Journey, it's either you plan for it or you're skipping it. There's no middle. There's never a filler.
And the funny thing is, like, based on the ride alone, it sort of should be a filler. Like in a perfect
Yeah.
park,
it should be a 25-minute wait.
if that, yeah, and it'd be great as a filler, but because of the lack of attractions or lack of lightning lane availability or whatever, it functions that you either have to plan it or skip it. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
In Africa, there's Kilimanjaro safaris. I'm assuming we're all planning around doing the safari.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then they have the Gorilla Falls exploration trails.
This is a filler for me.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's not too hot and we have time, well, I definitely love walking the trails. The kids do too.
And then Festival of the Lion King. Is that something you plan to do every trip, or is it more of, hey, we have time, do you guys want to do a show? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's borderline filler or skipper. Like if I don't do it, I'm okay not seeing it. I'm like this with most shows anyway. And most like whether it's a 3D thing like Muppets or something else like that. But if we're there for like, if we get to like everything, we're doing like a half a day at Animal Kingdom, which we'll most likely do anything, and we haven't done Lion King, and it's like 11:30, and we want to go, we'll leave versus seeing the Lion King. But
oh, really? Okay.
yeah, it's not a must do. I know you really love this show, so I
Yeah.
know it's probably planner / filler for you. It's opposite for me. It's filler plus / skipper for me.
Okay.
So we can label it a filler. I mean,
Filler.
we'll both agree on that. But do you plan on seeing Festival when you're there?
It depends on the trip. If we haven't done it in a couple trips because things didn't work out or whatever, then we plan on it. But I think it functions a little more as like, okay, when we're there for the whole day, because we usually don't hop. So if we have our Animal Kingdom day, we're there for the whole day. We're
Right.
like, oh, we're in, we have time. I guess it kind of functions a little as a filler or planner because you have to plan a little bit just because there's a show time. So you have to kind of like, okay, well, let's fill it in, but which time is going to work the best type thing. So I think when you say it's in between a planner and a filler, for me, that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, we're planning on seeing it this time, but we just have hoppers every single day. So we're like, well, I want to see it because I do enjoy it, and we haven't been there in like 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing it.
So like if I was in your case, that would definitely be a planning thing. But if I had seen it recently, it wouldn't have to be. Next one is Rafiki's Planet Watch, which has two things: the Conservation Station and the Wildlife Express train. I'm assuming these aren't planner for you, but
I've never done these before, so these always been skippers for me. But we are planning on going on this trip because we've just never done them before.
Yeah, I think they still for me, they qualify as a skipper because it's one of those things where, like, yeah, if we haven't done it in a while, you want to check the box and do it. Sure, we did it last time just because we hadn't done it in a while, but it's like, if we don't get to it, it's not the end of the world type thing.
Right.
So yeah. Then we have Asia with Expedition Everest.
I mean, I love this attraction, so it's a planner for me for sure. It's not a hard one to plan for because it's usually pretty easy to get on, but it's definitely a planner.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick one, I would put that one. It's become a little bit of a filler now that we've done it a number of times, and some of the kids don't seem as into it as in the past. So it's kind of like if we go by and it's got a relatively short wait, we'll do it. But sometimes if we don't get to it, it's not the end of the world. So
my kids love this, so it's like that matches me. I'm like, I love going. So if I have 3 kids that want to do it, like, yeah, let's go. Let's rock.
Yeah, it's weird. It used to be like one of my kids' favorites. Like it was absolutely a must do, and then the last time we were down there, it didn't seem they were like, whatever. So I don't know.
Kids change, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Kali River Rapids.
I don't know what to put. Like when you first said Kilimanjaro Safari, for some reason I was thinking Kali River Rapids, and I almost said like filler, and we're about to reach through the screen and shake me. This is filler for me. If we don't feel like getting wet, it's skippable. It just depends on the time of year and who I'm with. If I'm with my wife, this just my wife on an adult trip. This is definitely skipping. Like she doesn't want to do that. If we got the kids and it's warm out, it's a filler. I don't think it reaches the planner phase for sure. Yeah, I'm going with filler on this.
Yeah, I think I'll leave it there too because it's not quite like a must do for us, but my kids really do enjoy it, and I think they would be bummed if we didn't get on it. But it's not one where like I'm buying Lightning Lane just so we can guarantee we get on it or something like that. So it's probably a high filler for us. But I also agree the weather depends on things and who I'm with. Like if it is just my wife and I could definitely see us skipping this, but my kids enjoy it. So then there's also the Maharaja Jungle Trail. I'm assuming like the other one that's a filler.
It's a filler. The only time where like if there's like a new animal that's born or something else like that, that'll be a planner just to kind of check it out.
To see
like,
the little baby tiger and stuff.
Yep.
Like that.
I mean, we like watching, and we're just we just rewatched the Animal Kingdom show on Disney Plus. My wife really likes that show, so we like animals as a family. So it's almost like I don't think my kids really remember these trails, so they're not driving the planning for me. They're fillers, but if my kids think about them more, it might become a planner just for my kids. Yeah,
gotcha. And then the show there, Feathered Friends in Flight, the bird show. Is that something you guys do or skip?
I think this is skippable for me because I've never seen it.
Yeah,
right?
We've done it like once or twice. It's kind of like a once every 5 trip type thing for us.
And my wife doesn't have patience when we're in theme parks, right? Like if there's a show that's like for in like 20, 30 minutes from now, she's like, now let's just go, right? Because she wants to keep moving.
Right.
But she's a huge bird person. She loves birds. She's had pet birds. We have a pet parakeet. My oldest loves birds too. And I'm just surprised that they're not driving seeing this show. We plan on hopefully doing everything on property this time around. So this will be a planner. Everything's a planner. Like if this trip, like you just put X's in planner for everything, right? But normally this has been a skipper for us.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree. It's something we do every now and then, and definitely want to check the box. And I know that you refresh it every now and then. If they adjusted it again, I'd probably want to check the box again. But for us, it's a skip.
Yep.
Then we have Dinoland / Tropical Americas. I guess we can do quickly like how things were for you and your family, and then what are your expectations for when the new area opens. So was the Boneyard something you guys like kind of fit in every trip, or did you normally skip it?
We've never done the Boneyard. So it was always skippable for us because we wanted to get done with the parking and go, right? So we were never lingering there. Yeah. So, it was skippable for us.
It was at least filler for us, especially when my kids were younger.
Mm-hmm.
They really enjoyed it. But the last few trips, it was skippable for us. So it's hard for me to not agree with you there. Triceratops Spin.
This was filler / skipper for us just because we needed rides for the small ones to go on. So this was always kind of something we wanted to do. But once I think this was a filler back in 2022. But since then, it's been skippable. Obviously,
yeah.
Now we can't.
I mean, we made sure to do it last time because we knew it was going away type thing. But if it wasn't for that, we generally skip it. What about Dinosaur overall? Is that something that you guys fit in every trip and planned around, or was it more filler for you?
It was always filler, but we've always went on just because of lack of attractions. So it's like we always planned on it just because it was the only other ride there. So it's kind of tough to say. But like in a vacuum, if there was like 5 other attractions in the park to go on, this would be filler / skipper for us because it's not a fun attraction. It's kind of bad.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And then Finding Nemo, the Big, Beautiful, and Beyond the show.
So this was a skipper for us. We haven't seen the new iteration post-COVID. Again, we're not a big show family where we all have to sit around and be quiet and wait. My kids are not good with waiting in the dark in a movie theater or a theater area. Yep.
So we checked the box last time to see it, and we were glad we did. We enjoyed it, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I don't think it's something we're going to, if it works out, it works out, but it's not something that we would mind skipping.
For most of us, it's either, is it raining? Do we need to go inside? Or are we walking by when it's like loading? Like, hey, do you want to go on this right now? It's starting.
And actually, both of those were happening at the same time when we did it last time. So it's kind of like, okay, it looks like it's raining. There's a show soon. Let's go in and do this. We haven't done it. And we enjoyed it. So we wouldn't mind doing it again. But yeah, it's kind of one of those. If it
Well,
fits in, it fits. But
the bad part about this is where it's located, because we never go from Expedition Everest down towards Dinosaur and that way around Discovery Island, because we always go like all the way to Expedition Everest and then we double back all the way back through Africa. Because usually we go over to Expedition Everest in the morning first thing to see if we can get like double, triple rides. It's always been closed, and then we backtrack to go on the safari and everything else, because that's usually how we do that park. Right?
Yeah.
And then we work back towards our Flight of Passage, Lightning Lane, Navi, or single pass, Lightning Lane for the Navi. And then what we do is we either go on Kali River Rapids, or we go over to Dinosaur, and we're done with the park.
Right.
Basically. And that's how because we've never walked back. Like, I always forget Nemo was there. I'm like, oh yeah, Nemo. I forgot about that show. But we never walked past the building.
It'd be interesting to see if like just touring patterns change once the Tropical Americas opens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Like will more people go this route and actually just be like, oh hey, there is a show here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I guess, what are your thoughts for the new areas? There's 4 kind of things that are going to be in that area: the Encanto ride, Indiana Jones ride, the carousel, and the play area that's replacing the Boneyard. So are all any of those going to be planner for you, or skipper or filler?
So I got to think like, okay, the newness is worn off. We've been on them for maybe 2 trips, right? Yeah. So we're thinking like, if this opens in 27, this question is being asked to me in like 2030, 2032, something like right? That, sure. Something silly like that. I think the Encanto ride is always going to be a planner, assuming it's a banger of a dark ride, right? Indiana Jones, again, I think it has to be a planner. I'm a big Indy fan. And if it's as good as I've never been on the one on Disneyland.
I've been on the one in Disneyland, and if that version was here versus Dinosaur, it would be a planner for me. Yep. So, and I'm assuming it'll be at least as good as that.
I would say so. The carousel is definitely a filler, but it also might be a planner depending on the age of my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter, she's now 7. Last time we were in Disney World, she was just about to turn 6, so she was 5, and she loves carousels.
Yeah,
I don't know if that carries over as she gets older. Maybe it does stick. So if she's still a big fan of going in circles on a horse, it'll be a planner. But otherwise, I think it's like, hey, do you want to go on the carousel? And the answer is yes. We get some cool pictures.
I think it'll function as a perfect filler while you're waiting for like your Lightning Lane for Encanto or something else. Yeah. It'll be like, go on the carousel.
I just hope that it doesn't get like super popular where everybody always has to do it, and it's got like hopefully it doesn't get the Navi River Journey treatment,
right,
for the Encanto area. And it's
no, I hear what you're saying.
Yep.
And then the play area, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on the age of your kids, right? But
my kids are going to be aged out by the time, because it's 2 years from now, and my oldest is going to be 9, or my youngest is going to be 9. My oldest is going to be 14. My 14-year-old isn't running around here. My son might be just running all over the place anyway, because he'll be 12, and then maybe my youngest. But like, this is definitely a skipper for me. Most play areas are. Everybody likes to claim that like play areas are so fantastic for kids, just let kids burn off energy. I'm like, my kids never have energy to burn off when we go to the parks. Like, they're always like next ride, or they're exhausted, right? They don't need to be running around doing things. Though I get some people think it's important to have these play areas. I personally believe if I was in charge of Disney World planning, I said every land needs a restaurant, a merch area, a meet and greet, a combination of like an E-ticket, B-ticket, or a C and a D, or some kind of formula of 2 attractions and a play area. I think every land should have a play area that kids can just kind of run around in all over the place. So
yeah, I mean, when it's done, this Tropical Americas area, really, it'll have the show, it'll have kind of the more thrill ride, the family ride, the CD ride with the carousel, and a play area. I mean, it's going to be probably one of the more complete lands that Disney's built in a while.
Yeah, I think this should be a blueprint for everything. I hope Villains is as quote unquote full as this.
I agree.
And I think the only thing missing from any kind of Villains would be probably that 3rd flat ride, right? Because they're going to say there's a dark ride. There's going to be there's like 2 top.
I think there's going to be 2 top level rides, and I'm thinking there's going to be a 3rd thing, whether it's a simple ride or a show. There'll be like a 3rd thing, and then it'll probably have a table service meal, which like Tropical Americas doesn't, as well as quick service, and maybe a
Magic Kingdom needs that though.
Exactly, yeah. So it might have more dining than Tropical Americas has, but it'll probably have one less attraction.
I would be disappointed with Villains Land if there's not a 3rd thing to do.
Yes, I agree.
So whether that's a show, a really elaborate meet and greet, a show like they have at Hollywood Studios type of thing, like I'm looking for that. level of. That's another thing I didn't consider doing when we were there with my daughters, the mermaid show or
Oh,
the
yeah.
villain show. That never really crossed my brain as we were rushing through everything. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, how did we forget about that? But
That's
I think-
funny. Well,
Anyway,
you could do it with your. Well, you'll be there in 2 weeks, so you can.
hey, it's an achievement. I got to look through this stack of things here. It's listed somewhere on here. But that's
All
it.
right. Yep, we got through Animal Kingdom.
And I mean, there's a decent. I mean, we stretched the list with the stuff, but there's a lot of skipper attractions on here because I think they're trying to make the list longer than it really actually is on the website.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. But like, if you do a lot of this stuff, you can really enjoy your day in Animal Kingdom and spend a solid like 7 hours in this park. It's not like, but you have to accept that it's not just like attractions.
Well, the funny
rides that
thing,
you
and
go
that's
on.
how the park was designed. I mean, I think I've said
Yeah.
on the show before, like when the Joe Rohde first wanted to have the park, he didn't want to have any directional signs anywhere in the park because he wanted people to explore and like just come on upon things, which isn't realistic to
No.
have. But
Humans
like
are
that's
stupid.
yeah, but that's kind of how the park is, where it's like even those trails, like we put them as filler and like we do them a lot of times. We enjoy doing them, but like if we don't like kind of come to the Gorilla Falls trail, like we don't always like seek it out or whatever. It's like oh yeah, there's the trail. Why don't we do that? That type of
Yeah.
thing. So
I mean, it goes to show you, like, my wife's been on both trails when we were there like 10 years ago. But then when we went as the two of us a couple years ago, I was like, let's go on the trail. She's like, what trails? Like the animal trails. I'm like, oh, those exist? And I'm like, you don't remember? And I'm like, but like, they're not like advertised. It's like a Tough to Be a Bug. It's kind of just hidden there.
Yeah.
And I think that's poor design for a park perspective. Like, even if you don't want to be blatant about like directional signs, you have to design the park to bring people in there. And
Yeah.
just kind of like a billboard that kind of blends in with the scenery doesn't really work out that way.
yep, I agree.
All right, so I think that does it. We'll go back to the show notes. We do have our engagement about Spaceship Earth, and we're way over time. Do you want to save this for next week?
Yeah, I didn't have a new one to ask for this week, so we could just carry it over, and this way, if anybody didn't get a chance to answer it, they can still answer it, and we'll go through it next week.
Excellent. Again, reminder for social media at the DBC Pod everywhere and anywhere. If you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down a little bit and hit the like button. We really appreciate it. Leave a comment if you like. That helps the algorithm because we all love algorithms in this day and age. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.